Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and if I actually move my microphone in, you can actually hear me. There we go. That was my last thing I forgot to do. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week and all the other genre stuff you guys want to talk about. We talk about it. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first, and then we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, what YouTube does, takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media, so Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. No tier set on the Patreon, but very, 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 very close. 3 subscribers away from 1,000. Once I hit 1,000, I'll put up some tiers, all that kind of good stuff, and move on from there. Also, I have the links to this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right. Sorry I was a little bit late. There's some yelling that was going on out in the hallway there, and I was wondering what the fuck it was. And also, I had to make my cocoa, So, you know how it is. It gets there. So, what do we have going on today? Well, we had the Falcon and Winter Soldier that ended, of course. The last episode was last night or yesterday. And on the heels of that, we got word that Captain America 4 is in development with Malcolm Spellman writing this. So Malcolm Spellman was the head writer or showrunner of the series Falcon and Winter Soldier. They're kind of using that interchangeably now. Showrunner and head writer is what they're using. And there's in Hollywood right now, there's a little bit of butt puckering going on because I think there's pay differences associated with it, and also some, I guess, power associated with it as well, depending on if you're a showrunner or head writer or whatever it is. So go figure, Hollywood. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this. Of course, Anthony Mackie is going to be Captain America, or he is Captain America already. And yeah, I mean, hopefully we're going to get some more Winter Soldier in there too. I don't know what the plot's going to be. Well, the plot's got to involve Madam Hydra at this point. It's also got to involve Sharon Carter as well, who I still say is a Skrull. And yeah, so there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff going on in that movie. And I don't know if the Russo brothers are going to be back to direct it. I kind of hope they would be, but they're off doing their own things. I think they're kind of taking a break from the Marvel universe at the moment. So yeah, I wish there was I wish they were coming back for some more, some more Captain America stuff. Oh, sorry. I'm just dropping stuff out of my cup there. Excuse me. All right. What else do I have going on? So at one point, I think it was a couple of weeks back, I talked about Michael Keaton was supposed to be playing Bruce Wayne Batman in the Ezra Miller Flash movie. And then a couple weeks later, he's like, oh God, no, I'm not doing that. That would be death. That would be suicide doing that kind of role again. And at my age and blah, blah, blah. And well, supposedly he's back again playing Bruce Wayne Batman in the Ezra Miller Flash movie. No, I'm just, well, one, I don't want to see the Ezra Miller Flash movie anyway. I didn't like Ezra Miller's Flash, his version of Flash, even the extended cut. He's just kind of an annoying character. I don't know. It's just the way he played him was very, very fucking annoying. And I didn't want to see more of it, to tell you the truth. And yeah, I know they're going to be doing Flashpoint and stuff like that. And I mean, we're going to see different versions. I would rather see, Thomas Wayne as Batman. again in the Flashpoint and comics, at one point they had a version where Flash screws up the timeline, and instead of Martha and Thomas Wayne dying, Bruce Wayne dies, and Thomas Wayne becomes Batman, and Martha Wayne becomes a version of the Joker. And I thought that was so much more interesting than the same run of the mill shit, that we had going on. Apple Crow says, I mean, it would be interesting to have Keaton back for Dark Knight Returns, but that storyline has been ruined by Batman versus Superman. Exactly. A lot of stuff has been ruined by Batman versus it's been a lot of stuff has been ruined by Snyder in particular for the DC universe. And that's the reason why they're not using him anymore and they're going their own way. And yeah, there's a lot of shenanigans going on over there, and there's not going to be a cohesive DC universe in the movies. Just deal with it at this point. There is not going to be a cohesive DC universe. They were talking about all this being elsewhere stuff now. Every movie is pretty much on its own. It's all part of multiverse, I guess is what they're saying, and it's a stupid concept, but that's just because they screwed themselves so often that you really can't put anything back together again. Unless you do a giant, massive reboot, which you're going to have to spend $1 billion, literally $1 billion in order to put that back together again. I just can't see it happening. Not the way Marvel has their stuff. I mean, Marvel is that they pulled that out, that the MCU is as well put together as it is, considering how they started off where they didn't know what they were doing. What was it? 11, 12 years ago, somewhere around there, is amazing. It really is amazing when you start looking at it. And it just goes to show you need to have one person's vision that actually follows the comics. Yeah, I mean, you could take liberties with the comics at some point here and there, but you need to have one person's vision and have all the directors and writers fall in line with that vision, and not have someone go, "Hey, let's kill off this minor character because I just want to piss off the fans," or "Hey, I want to put in that both their mother's name is Martha, and that's going to be the thing that stops them from killing each other." Or having your characters murder people for no fucking good reason whatsoever because you think it would look cool. Yeah. Again, I'm ranting to the choir at this point. Old man shakes fist at sky. Yes. But there we go. What else I got going on here? The Mad Max prequel Furiosa, which is going to be starring Anna Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth, is starting to film in Australia, and it is being touted as Australia's biggest film right now, ever shot there. They're doing multiple locations. George Miller, of course, is directing, and we're not going to see until mid 2023. We're going to see this movie. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going on, a lot of filming there. Yeah. Penn says, laugh out loud. Tell us what you really think. Okay. Yes, Philip, it is healthy to rant. It really is. Sometimes. Unless you do it too often, then you just come off as, tinfoil hat guy. Or some other sites I shall not name. Actually, I was one of those sites. I was on one of those. Yep. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to Furiousa. I've been looking forward to Furiosa. Anything George Miller does, I was sitting here actually thinking about this before the podcast, and pretty much anything that George Miller does, I will pay money for. He has not given a bad movie. Even Thunderdome, which is the worst out of the Mad Max movies, isn't bad. I mean, when you look at it, and that was because, I mean, he was of course grieving for his partner that he had started all these Mad Max movies with, and had handed off the production to somebody else. So it's really not a George Miller movie, but at the same time, it's still not a bad movie. Yeah. Apple Crow says, "Don't worry, JJ can't possibly fuck up DC." Oh yeah, he can. Yeah, he can. I don't. So DC for Warner Brothers for a fleeting moment, for a fly speck of a moment, had their hooks into James Gunn. If they had kept their hooks into James Gunn and said, you know what, we want you to redo the entire DC movie universe. We want you to do it. We're going to set you up as the head. And this is when he got ousted from Marvel because of that one post of him dressed as a priest way back when on Instagram. So yeah, they had their hooks into James Gunn for a hot minute. And if they had kept him, they would have been in such a better position than where they are now. They could have just offered him the world essentially to stay there and rebuild the entire DC universe. Instead, and I shit you not, when we see Suicide Squad come out, it's going to be the best DC movie that's come out in a long time. It really is. James Gunn's Suicide Squad. I'm just saying that right now. I'm putting that out there. That's my prophecy, is that this is going to be the best DC movie that we have seen. God, I'm trying to think of. I mean, Shazam was a good movie. It wasn't the best DC movie, but this I think is going to be like the best DC movie that we've ever seen. Yeah. Penn says Thunderdome is definitely not bad. We've seen. Oh yeah, we've seen bad, definitely. Apple Crow says I actually watched Not Quite Hollywood last night about Ozplotlation films, and they interviewed Miller. So yeah, the whole thing, Mad Max, going back to Mad Max, how that started off was kind of interesting. Was I guess there was a lot of road related fatalities that were happening in Australia at the time, and people just speeding and doing all kinds of shit. I mean, hundreds of miles an hour kind of thing on the freeway. And George Miller is a doctor. He's an MD, and him and his friend, who also worked in the hospital, they kept seeing these deaths over and over and over again. And that's how Mad Max came about. The movie, he decided to do that with his friend in order to make this movie that was based on some real life shit that was happening. And he kind of extrapolated it into the future as to what would happen if really bad shit was to happen. And you get the Mad Max series. And the rest, as they say, is history. Ozploitation. Thank you. I couldn't, I was trying to wrap my mouth around that wording and I just couldn't do it, obviously, because I suck at, pretty much everything I try to pronounce at this point. Even my own name. Yeah. Sorry, this is really fucking good, so that's why I keep drinking it. If you're annoyed by it, I'm sorry. But yeah, Anna Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth are going to be both in that Mad Max Furiosa prequel that's coming out, and I'm definitely down for that. Emilia Clarke is in final talks to join the Disney Plus series Secret Invasion. So I talked about this a little bit last night during the Falcon and Winter Soldier season finale. And Secret Invasion is going to be about Skrulls, is really what it's going to be about. So Skrulls are shape-shifting entities that we've seen already. We've seen them in the Spider-Man universe. We've seen them, with Nick Fury and all this stuff. So what Secret Invasion is supposed to be about is that Skrulls have slowly infiltrated the Earth as both superheroes and also in positions of power, and they're slowly taking over the Earth is what's going on. And I'm fairly sure that we've already seen a few of these being placed in not only Marvel series, but also in Marvel movies as well. And that's what we're going to get with Secret Invasion. And I'm glad Emilia Clarke's coming on. I know there's been some other casting as well. It looks like it's just gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, I'm enjoying. I don't know about you guys, but the DC or Disney Plus Marvel programming has just been good. I know it's only 2 series in, but I'm enjoying it. It actually is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the weekly releases versus just dumping it all at once and having to binge it. And yeah, I mean, yeah. Philip A. Deming says you're missing an opportunity to get sponsored by your drink. It's just hot chocolate, Philip, as far as you know. Yeah. You're not a Clarke fan? You're not Emilia Clarke fan? Yeah, I know she rubs people the wrong way. Terminator Genesis, by the way, was just fucking horrid. I saw that in the theater and I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? You want to talk about bad movies? That's a really bad movie. That's one of those ones that occasionally I try and block it out and it comes back again. I try and block it out and it comes back again. I try and drink to block it out and it still comes back again. It's just a bad movie. And I've only seen it once. I've never seen it on cable or, well, not cable, but on TV. I don't even know where it's at anymore. If anybody's even showing it, I know it's Warner Brothers, so you'd think it would be on HBO Max, but I haven't seen it there either, or they're not promoting it either way. So, yeah, and I like her as an actress. She's okay. She's all right as far as I'm concerned. I didn't even mind her in the Sarah Connor role in Terminator Genesis. It's just the whole story sucked, you know. It was just a bad story all the way around. But then again, I'm a sucker for Terminator stories too. Jed Whedon actually wrote this really great comic, and I want to say it was for Dark Horse Comics. And I want to say it was like early 2000s is what it was. But I know Jed actually wrote this. So what the whole premise was that Kyle Reese did not die. Yes, we see his body carted out at the end of Terminator, but he didn't die. He was actually paralyzed. And Cyberdyne actually took him and they have him in their company someplace. And basically they're extracting information from him about the future. And that's how they're building, they're ramping up their production of future technology stuff. And Sarah Connors does not find out for like a good 15 years, something like that, and decides to mount a mission in order to rescue him. It's fucking bonkers, but it works. It's really good. And I can't remember the name of the series, unfortunately, but it's really good. Penn says, I love the Marvel series so far. You know which one I'm waiting for. Hopefully it doesn't suck when it gets. I'm sure Loki's going to be really good. So, Penn, that was the other thing. I didn't put it in my news feed of stuff, but the showrunner, I believe, for Loki says they have enough material to do multiple seasons. So Loki might be the first Marvel series that actually gets multiple seasons, whereas WandaVision is a one-off. Excuse me, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a one-off. Pretty much everything else, I believe, is one-offs except for Loki. Loki is actually talking about yeah, they're talking about multiple seasons for Loki because it just lends itself to he's traveling through time, like trying to correct stuff or being forced to correct stuff through time. So yeah, it actually does. I'm not teasing you, Penn. This is actually what the showrunner said on this one. So this is in the discussion of things. I think they're going to see how well Loki does, which I think it's going to knock it out of the park there. So Connor and the Future Soldier. Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's really good. Apple Crowe. It really is. And I want to say it's Dark Horse Comics that did it. Yeah, because I think Dark Horse had the license to it. Yes, they did. Dark Horse. I'm scanning in my brain right now, and Dark Horse was the one that had the comic line. So they had the license line for both Terminator and RoboCop, and there's actually a Terminator RoboCop crossover, which works very well as well. It's very fucking twisted, but it's really good as well. So yeah, you can go out there. I mean, Dark Horse was doing Terminator comics back in the late 80s, early 90s. That's when they started their series. They also had Aliens, so they were doing the Alien series. They were doing Predator in comics. Dark Horse was doing a lot of movie properties, but they were doing them well. And any of those storylines that came out of Dark Horse would have made excellent movies or series. It's just they haven't capitalized on it, honestly. They're staying small. I mean, Dark Horse has been doing stuff movie wise, like Resident Alien. Resident Alien is a Dark Horse comic, but they are keeping it small because they don't want to overextend themselves, like IDW, and go bankrupt, kind of thing. Apple Crust, I don't see how they can screw up Loki. There are ways of doing it. I mean, you have Owen Wilson in it after all. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you, Philip. For a while there, I was buying a lot of Dark Horse Aliens comics line, their Terminator line. I think so. Their Terminator line didn't deal with Sarah Connor, didn't deal with the T-800s or anything like that. It was set in the future, and it involved a space colony, if I remember correctly. And they were coming to Earth to see what the fuck had gone on because they were all up in space at the time, and they made their own robotic versions, I guess you could say, of Terminators. And but they were there to help protect humans versus obliterate humans, and it was really good. I mean, I think I collected that one up to like issue 40 or something like that before I switched off. I think it got canceled at one point. But yeah, it was really damn good. Doom Patrol casting news. Yeah. Season 3 of Doom Patrol is going to be casting 5 people in recurring roles, and they're going to be playing a group called the Sisterhood of Dada. Now, Sisterhood of Dada is not what it was in the comics. It was called the Brotherhood of Dada. Still the same characters. It's just they're calling it the Sisterhood of Dada, is what this is. So they are casting Micah Joe Parker, Wynn Everett, Miles Mussenden, Anita Kalathara, and Gina Hiraizumi. And who are they playing, you might ask? Well, Parker is going to be playing Malcolm, who's a quite sensitive and thoughtful soul who would rather be invisible and then face this unforgiving world. Palmer is going to be playing Shelley Byron, or the Fog, and who's supposed to be a deadly terrorist. Mustadin is going to be playing Frenzy, who is a sculptor of strange lifelike mask who is covered with tattoos and scars. And then Anita Kalathara is going to be playing Holly Mackenzie, or Sleepwalk is what her name is. And they call her a late-hearted never-do-well. That's all. And of course, Gina Hiraizumi will play Sakio, or the Quiz. And the Quiz is an enigmatic germaphobe whose crippling phobias mask awe-inspiring powers. So basically just as fucked up as the rest of the Doom Patrol are. That is who they're going to be playing. Philip Adamic says the Aliens themed hotel in Switzerland creeps me out. Google it. I'll take your word for it. I'm not a big fan of the H.R. Geiger stuff. I know there's a lot of people that like that kind of aesthetic. It didn't do anything for me. So Applecrow says, now I want a massive crossover of Terminator versus Aliens versus Predator Cop. I think they did. I think Dark Horse at one point did do Terminator versus Aliens versus Predator, but not RoboCop. So it is out there. Take a look at Dark Horse Comics, man. I mean, they've got some good stuff. Oh yeah. Russell Crowe revealed who he's playing in Thor 3 or Thor Love and Thunder. If you don't want to know what it is, cover your ears right now. But he's going to be playing Zeus, is who he's playing. It's really not a spoiler, quite honestly. It's just a character that he's playing. And I'm kind of interested to see what Taika Waititi's version of Zeus is going to be, especially played by Russell Crowe. I want to see what that's going to be. That seems like it's going to be kind of fun. And it could also be just really bonkers off the wall. If it goes into Kiwi humor, it might be a little awkward or a lot awkward. We don't know, but it'll be interesting nonetheless. I'm looking forward to this movie anyway. I have been for a while. Thor Ragnarok is just such a good movie. It really is. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It's on Disney Plus. If you have Disney Plus, and it's well worth the time. It's a lot of fun. It's actually my favorite version of Hulk as well, and my favorite version of Thor. And Jeff Goldblum's in it too, and Tessa Thompson. So, yeah. If anything, I would say that movie is what made Tessa Thompson kind of a household name. You know, yeah, Zeus might be a little bit of a philanderer. I'm surprised cancel culture hasn't caught up with him. I just realized I forgot to turn on half my lighting scheme in here. So the camera's doing this weird. Yes, that is the technical sound of it. So Roku, you know the little Roku device that you guys plug into your TVs and all that kind of stuff? Well, it's getting into the streaming business as well. And they're starting Roku Originals, is what they branded themselves as. Now, don't get too excited about this because really what Roku Originals is, it's Quilby content. So all the Quilby content they bought in January of last year, they're going to repackage as Roku Originals and put it out there. So they have 75 different series and movies that they're going to be popping out on their Roku channels. So if you're like me and have an Amazon Fire device, you can actually, there's a Roku channel that you can put in there, a Roku app, I should say, Roku channel app. There we go. And you should be able to watch it there. So if you're interested in seeing old Quilby content, which I heard some of it wasn't bad, I heard some of it was okay, but I wasn't about to stick around for it. And from what I understand, it's very like short attention span theater, where it was supposed to be made directly for cell phone use. Although you couldn't see any of it because it was so small, on a cell phone and they were shooting for like movie quality kind of stuff. I don't know. There's a reason why Quilby went under so quickly. It was bad. I want to say that was Katzenberg's idea, Jeffrey Katzenberg's, who owned Disney, or ran Disney, I should say, at one point. He was the CEO of Disney. Man, the dark days of Disney. Yeah. Did anyone else see the Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings trailer that came out this week as well? So just a reminder, that movie's coming out on September 3rd. I just like that they had the whole San Francisco scenes. And by the way, that Muni bus that you see like barreling through, the 30 Muni bus, that's really how the Muni buses drive in San Francisco. So there wasn't anything special effects about that. That was just literally the Muni bus driving, doing its normal route, going over cars and stuff like that. And yeah. So they really didn't have to do any special effects for that. They just said, "Hey, Muni, can we shoot on one of your buses?" And they're like, "Sure, we'll give you one of our drivers." And yeah, the rest, as they say, is history. Yeah, you pretty much take your life in your hands when you ride a Muni bus in San Francisco. It's it's a unique experience, let's just say. And I also loved that the final scene where he's on board a Muni streetcar, which is a different one, is actually out at West Portal when he's going into the tunnel. I know exactly where it is because I've ridden that thing fucking hundreds of times. And I was like, fuck, Someone actually, so this is one of the things I always thought of if I was ever going to do a movie about, set in San Francisco, is use locations that haven't been shot before. And one of those is West Portal. So the person who's directing this movie had the same thoughts that I did. And they're actually using parts of San Francisco as unique backdrops. And it's stuff that people haven't seen, people outside of San Francisco haven't seen in the movies, and are actually unique backgrounds and backdrops to whatever you're filming. And it's like no other place really in the world. And I'm that's another thing that's kind of making me excited about this movie. Excited for it and wanting to see it. Um, yeah, it's definitely one of those things that's on my higher up list. Now, China isn't too big on this movie at the moment, which, fuck them. So yeah, I think it's because of the star is what's going on. But yeah, I don't care, honestly. Yeah. What else have I got going on here? Oh yeah. And if you've taken a look at my schedule, I have future stuff on my schedule as well. And at the very bottom, I put down The Witcher is coming out at the end of 2021. Because I actually, read and I look at this stuff, and well, it's been confirmed in a Netflix investor video that was shown recently that both Cobra Kai and The Witcher are going to be returning in the fourth quarter of 2021, which is October to December, someplace around there. So, big surprise, I was right. So there you go. The end of this year, you're going to get both Cobra Kai. What is that? Season 3 now? No, season 4. Season 4 of Cobra Kai and season 2 of The Witcher. That's what we're getting at the end of this year. Anyone else still here, or has my live chat kind of frozen? Oh, there we go. Penn says, "Of course you were right." Well, honestly, it doesn't take much. You're just reading. I mean, you don't need to read between the lines or anything like that. There's news out there. I get enough shit thrown into my news feed that it just is an aside. I mean, I'll skim through some stuff and I'll pick up little bits here and there, and then my brain does whatever it does and sends it out. Okay, so it's just me. Stop me if you heard this one before. Vin Diesel is going to star in a movie where he's going to play a dad and his son who get into giant robots that are to fight. They're supposed to be fighting. And of course, it's going to be called Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Yes. So he is going to star in Mattel's Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie, which is already done back in 2011, 2012 with Hugh Jackman, called Real Steel, if you haven't seen it already. And yeah, I'd rather watch Real Steel than Vin Diesel mumble his way through another really bad. I know he's starting to do a round of comedies now, Vin Diesel. Yeah, exactly, Penn. Hugh Jackman did. No, Hugh Jackman did Real Steel. He's in it. Yeah. Didn't Hugh Jackman do? Yeah, exactly. I caught up with you now, Penn, on that. Alpha says walking the dogs and type was problematic. Only so many things I can do with one free hand. I don't want to get into that, Apple Crow. So yeah, that's on your own dime. But yeah, why are they doing it? Because they can. Mattel's been trying to branch out and do. They're trying to be like Hasbro, or Hasbro's done a GI Joe movie. They've done Transformer movies. There was a push, I want to say about 15 years ago, where like Parker Brothers was trying, they're trying to do remember Battleship when they did the Battleship movie and that crashed and burned because everyone was laughing their ass off. That was the nail in the coffin for that crossover stuff. So Mattel has been trying to copy what Hasbro did with their properties. Um, yeah, yeah. Applecrow says just let Tim Burton do Candyland, and all the Depp bots can survive another year. I saw Battleship. I saw it on cable when I had cable. Good God, that was a fucking awful movie. Some parts of it had some interesting ideas, but the ideas did not translate into the story. The story was just bad. The story was really bad. It wasn't Zack Snyder bad, but it was pretty bad. Applecrow says I saw Battleship. There was an amazing movie buried under a lot of crap. I don't know if there was an amazing movie. There was an okay movie in there, but the rest of it was just crap. It was basically Battle of Los Angeles. If you saw Battle of Los Angeles, um, set on the water, only really badly done. That's pretty much what it was. I would have liked to have seen more in the Battle of Los Angeles series. There was supposed to be like a Battle of Paris, Battle of London, I believe. They were actually going to do a couple of movies, but that movie crashed and burned because it was marketed really horribly. And also, the story wasn't really set up well, so you came in the middle of the story rather than having a beginning, a middle, and an end. So, I think that would have done a lot better on that. Applecross, I mean, interesting ideas that were suppressed by a need to somehow link it to a 80-year-old board game. Applecrow, 80-year-old board game. I want to say, because I want to say that thing was out in the 50s, if I'm not mistaken. Battleship. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was 60s. So in that case, it was a 60-year-old board game. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I guess Vin Diesel is also reteaming with F. Gary Gray to make a comedy called Muscles. Your guess is as good as mine. I glanced over it and I was like, nope, not putting in yeah. It just stuck in my head and I'm like, fuck. Oh. And speaking of bad ideas, Rob Zombie has redone The Munsters in his own image as a movie, and it's coming out. And it's going to be hitting both theaters and Peacock on the same day. Yeah. I am not looking forward to this at all. Well, that's the rumor anyway that's coming out on Peacock. But supposedly he made it for like 30 to 40 million dollars. And I am really not looking forward to this at all. Yeah, and he's shooting it in Budapest. So he's filming it, I should say, in Budapest coming in May. There we go. So he's filming it right now. Oh my God. No. 1967 for the game. Okay, so it is a little over 50 years old. What's the rating for Rob Zombie's Munsters? He hasn't started shooting it yet, Applecrow. It'll probably have his wife in it in a very low cut, dress. And she'll stumble her way through the lines like she normally does. And there'll probably be lots of blood and whatnot. And yeah, it's Rob Zombie. So don't be expecting much, if anything. Josh fight? What's Josh fight? Oh, Josh Whedon. Joss, it's two S's, Ufanobi. Joss, if that's what you're looking for. Unless you're talking about Josh Gad, and then sure, I'll fight that motherfucker. Sorry, I'm not a big Josh Gad fan. I'm really not. I don't know why. He just kind of rubs me the wrong way. I was switching out cups, by the way, so I need to get to my water. Oh, it's a thing? Josh fight? Okay. Apple Course, I keep hearing about Josh fight, but what the fuck? And do I even care? I'm old. I don't know what it is. So the final thing I've got here is Jim and John Thomas, who wrote the original script for the original Predator movie. Yes, the original Predator movie. They're suing Disney to get the rights back to the film and the character. They said that the rights expired last week because Disney, of course, doesn't have anything in production right now, and they bought Fox, who own the rights to it. So they're suing Disney to get those rights back, and more power to them, man. I mean, hopefully they get them back and they do something good with that franchise, because honestly, nothing's been done with that franchise that's been any good in the last, I don't know, 4 outings of that movie. They really need to do something good with it. Again, tap fucking Dark Horse. As I was saying before, Dark Horse did some great comics based in the Predator line. Even the Alien versus Predator line came about because of Dark Horse Comics. So tap Dark Horse Comics writers, bring them in, and yeah, I mean, Verheiden, who did Swamp Thing and also Ash versus Evil Dead, that was one of his first writing gigs. Was it might have been one of the Terminator comics, but it was one of the comics in Dark Horse. It was either he reminded me of it actually. I follow him on Twitter, and he had posted something about it. I'm like, oh, that's right, you did that, and it was a great comic. Sue for Bucky's vibranium arm. I don't know. That's a lot of money, Louis Finobi. That's they're going to be holding on to that resource. I mean, they're going to melt it down and use the vibranium for monetary value. I mean, it's worth more than Dogecoin right now, right? Is that how you say it? Dogecoin? Never know. Bitcoin prices now just went back down again. A lot. That's just a funny market. It really is. The whole cryptocurrency stuff. I keep one pseudo eye on it and see it going like a little roller coaster. But cryptocurrencies are kind of fun anyway. Just watching the financial industry lose their shit over it, and then of course they try and take it down at the same time. Who knows? But that's all I got, news wise. What are you guys watching? I mean, besides me. I've got other stuff that I'm what did I watch last night? Oh, I know what I watched last night. I tried to block it out. Stowaway. The Mission to Mars thing with Anna Kendrick and Toni Collette and Daniel Day Kim. No bueno. I mean, there is some stupid shit. So whenever I watch movies about, astronauts in space and it's always going to be some kind of calamity that happens, I always sit there and in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, so let me guess. Now it's going to be a radiation storm. Sure enough, a radiation storm happens. Oh, let me guess. Something happened to the oxygen, scrubbers or something like that. Sure enough, the oxygen scrubber. It's one problem after another. And it's like, motherfucker, they don't send people up in these little tin cans and go, oh, well, fuck them. If the system goes down, it goes down. They have backups upon backups upon backups. So it's not like one system goes down and you're fucked. And that's pretty much the premise of this movie. It's like, hey, we're going to send you on a 2-year mission to Mars, but we're only going to give you one of everything. We're not going to give you backups on any of this stuff. Yeah. Philip Ademic says, I think after 20 years, everything should become public domain. Otherwise, you only encourage overseas theft. What do you mean, like Mickey Mouse? So you can blame Disney on that one. So Mickey Mouse is finally going to become, or the image of Mickey Mouse is going to become public domain. I want to say it's in 2030 is when it's supposed to happen. But otherwise, so public domain stuff, you can definitely blame Disney on that one. So all the public domain laws keep getting pushed out because of Disney. And that's also the reason why they refresh Mickey's image of what he looks like every 5 years. So they redesign him just slightly with some things, and then they copyright it. You get to learn this when you're doing your copyright class, copyright and law class in media art and animation, when you're getting your degree for that. So yeah, it's one of those fun little facts that without Disney, you wouldn't have those public domain laws, if you will. That's why, what is it? I think it's 97 years. 97 years plus something else. It's is what the domain laws are, as long as you're using it and you keep updating it. And I believe it's every 5 years after that. Again, this is off of knowledge from like 20 years ago, so I don't remember. Not 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Philip A. Demick says they still counterfeit Mickey and everything in China, so why block our own companies from doing the same? Well, they're not supposed to. That's the whole thing. There are international copyright laws, and there are, of course, we have U.S. copyright laws. So if you don't copyright some stuff, if you only copyright it in the U.S., but you don't copyright it in international stuff, it's fair game. So that's why you want to copyright it in both. Yeah, and there is a way of doing that, and I can't remember how. It's been too long. I've lost that knowledge. There's an easy way of doing it. They showed us, like I said, when I was in school, and I can't remember how to do it now. Google it. It's on Google. You should be able to find it. Sorry, I was just hearing something weird over in the corner there. Didn't know if it was Pepper or not. I know they're doing work behind me because the apartment next door to me is vacant, so they're fucking that one up. Hey Stanley, yeah, let me start over from the beginning again. So to start off with, Captain America 4. Oh no. Thanks, Stanley. Yeah. I'm surprised I haven't been asked that yet. That's the first time I've been asked to recap it. And by the way, speaking of recaps, there is a contest going on over in the Captain America and the Winter Soldier thread. If you go into the season finale review and put in a comment, as long as you live within the continental United States, this guy is up for grabs. Mm-hmm. Ooh, shiny. You want me? Come on. Put in your comment. That's my Captain America voice. Yeah. Stanley is still meh about the Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Yeah. Philip A. Demick says I have nothing to watch after this season finale of Oak Island. They found silver. Did they find silver nails, Philip? Or did they actually find actual silver? They found the horse, silver. Was he still alive? Was he okay? Thanks, Penn, for posting that up there. God, Oak Island has got to be the biggest joke of a show. God love you, Philip. I don't know how you watch it. I really don't. I really don't know how you watch it. Maybe I'm mute. I don't know. That's how I used to watch it. Stanley says Oak Island. No. So Stanley, there is a really horrible reality TV show over here called Oak Island. It's been going on I think it's on season 9 right now. And it's about these two brothers who obviously have way too much fucking money. And they are in the East Coast. They're hunting treasure on this place called Oak Island. And supposedly there's a curse on it that so many people need to die before they actually find the treasure. And so they're digging holes all over this fucking island looking for this treasure that was supposedly buried by uh who knows who it was buried by. It could have been Knights Templar, whatnot. So these two brothers, they keep digging shit, and I swear to God, they find a piece of wood, they bring it in to get analyzed. Like, oh my God, it's from a Viking ship, or they find a nail, they're like, oh my God, it's from conquistadors, or oh my God, we found what looks to be part of a hammer, and it was during the Knights Templar time, and literally that's about as much as they ever find because they find a button here or they find it's really the stupidest fucking show. I'm sorry, Philip, I really am. But it used to be on right before Project Blue Book, and I'd have the mute on, but I'd always have subtitles running, right? So I could actually read what was going on as I was doing other stuff. And I'm like, I was always flabbergasted at how long this show was actually running and why. Yeah. It's from the Rare Craftsman tribe. That's not to be mistaken from the Makita tribe, though. So, yeah, the Makita tribe are a known offshoot of the Craftsman tribe, but they had to unplug from the Craftsman tribe a long time ago. There you go, Apple Crow. There's a joke for you. Yeah, they did. They really got around. Well, that's what happens when you unplug. When you go cordless, you can really move around. Stanley says that sounds very good. No, it's not. It literally was a show about watching these guys dig holes. And then they'd find something and bring it to some specialist or whatever. And the specialist would, go, it could be from this. And they're like, oh my God. And they get all excited. And then, yeah, nothing would come of it. Next time on Oak Island, they find a rock, a small rock. It looks like it has a chisel information in the bottom. Yeah. I'm sorry. I really am sorry, Philip. I'm shitting all over your show. I really am. Stanley says I found a bone in the garden today. Exciting. It could be from Oak Island, Stanley. It could be from the conquistadors or the Knights Templar. You might want to go have it checked out. Maybe get an excavation done in your backyard, in the garden. It could be a dinosaur. Oh, I'm sorry. I really am. It's been one of those days. It really has. Yeah, Stowaway was just really bad, by the way. So going back to Stowaway, yeah, don't bother with it. It's just going to piss you off more than anything else. It really pissed me off. There was a couple times I thought about stopping it, and I'm like, nope, no. I'm just going to go through with it. I'm gonna see where it goes. And at the end of it, I was like, why the fuck didn't I turn it off? Why didn't I turn it off? And I didn't. Apple says I found concrete flakes on my back porch from a historic ice storm we had 2 months ago. Oh, interesting. Did you bring in a team of specialists to get it checked out? Stanley says it could also be chicken, possibly. But you never know until you spend thousands of dollars on a specialist to find out for sure. Because you want to get DNA testing done and also have a forensic pathologist come in. Oh, Apple Crow, Texas is full of specialists. That's it's not, pretty much just ask anybody, they're a specialist on stuff. Anyone seen Shadow and Bone? Any opinion? I haven't seen Shadow and Bone. Everyone keeps talking about it. I see talk about it on Twitter, but I don't know if it's just talk to drum up some kind of interest in it. It just doesn't look like it's not something that's garnished any interest in me. Facebook University, nice. QAnon University, Apple Crow. Yeah. Some dude on the YouTube said it was true, so it got to be. Uh, Sorry, you're. I'm also, I have a degree in science. I work in a scientific institute, and so yeah, that kind of shit always pisses me off. But Dennis, you're some guy on the YouTube. I am, but I don't sit there and spew out theories. I Unless there are theories on what's going to happen in a TV show. That's pretty much about as far as my theories go. I don't speculate on scientific theories, political theories, societal theories, any of that. I don't do that. So, yeah. Oh, I have not talked about Mortal Kombat, Jody. Mortal Kombat will be on Tuesday. Tuesday when I cover it on Is It Worth My Time? That's right. Because I did watch it. I'm not going to say anything about it. On Reddit? I haven't done anything on Reddit as of yet. Philip A. Demick says, I really want to watch Shadow and Bone, but I have too much anxiety about it in today's environment. Oh. Okay. Jody says, but Dennis, the difference is you actually know your stuff. And no, not really. I honestly, it might sound like I know my stuff. I'm just really good at bullshitting for the most part. I'll be the first person to say that, if I know something for true, if I have that actual knowledge base on something, yes, I will chime in on it. If I don't know what it is, I'll say I don't know, but I think, and then anything after I say I think is taken with a grain of salt. And I always say this at work too. I tell them the same thing. I'm like, I don't know for sure, but from what I remember, that. And then I go and look it up and I'm like, hey, I was right on this, but I was wrong on this. Jody says, will you compare to the animated movie Scorpion's Revenge? I've never watched that. So no. I'll probably reference it to the Christopher Lambert Mortal Kombat movie. That one. Are you capable of changing your mind based on evidence? Sometimes. You mean holding preconceived notions of things, Apple Crow? Yeah, there's a lot of people that get stuck in their ways, uh, especially when it comes to science and science. You can't do that. You can't say, "Hey, it's this," and it's cut and dry. And that's kind of what infuriates the lay people, especially when it comes to like stuff that we have going on with the pandemic right now. And that's why the public is so pissed off at scientists that are keep changing their mind on stuff that's going on with the coronavirus. Um, and they don't understand that science is fluid. You find something new and you're like, hey, it contradicts what I said earlier. So we're changing our mind. And then you find something even further down the line, go, wait, I was right the first time. My contradiction was wrong. I'm switching back over again. It happens. I mean, that's the nature of research. Unfortunately, the common person who's not in science doesn't realize that and gets pissed off by it. Yeah, but Jeebus. my favorite, my favorite, I think, thing is Homer Simpson sitting out on this rock ledge and he's stranded and he's looking up and he goes, I know I don't talk to you very much. He's looking up at the sky and he goes, And I don't know if you're real or not, but I just want to say, if you're out there, help me, Superman. And that's one of my favorite things ever for The Simpsons. It really is. And I want to say it's Conan O'Brien, but I'm fairly sure it was years after Conan O'Brien had already left. But that's still one of my favorite pieces of The Simpsons. That, and also there's an episode that aired on my 21st birthday, which is the Flaming Moe, and Homer raises up a glass to a toast, and he goes, "To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems." Awesome. Stanley says, but there's only one truth, Dennis. How can it change? That's true. Yeah. Thanks, guys. I'm just going through all your comments at the moment. Yeah, Flaming Moe is one of my favorite. Well, it of course, because like I said, it happened on my 21st birthday. It happens to be the episode about drinking and inventing a drink. It also has Aerosmith in it, which at the time I was really big into Aerosmith at the time. Holy cow, you just fell on Aerosmith. Yeah, that was the Aerosmith episode. So it kind of hit all those different points for me at the time, and it was just really kind of funny. Yeah. Apple Crow says, I'd go Homelander in seconds if I had any super hearing and my current need for peace and quiet. I just start carving. Yeah, there has been stuff like that's been brought up in the comics about people who have super hearing and how they have to train themselves not to hear everything. And I would just be like, how would you fucking block that out? I mean, it would drive you insane. There's actually a disorder. I just read about this. That something happens in the bone in your ear that makes you have almost like super hearing. And there was a guy who was a guitarist in the 80s with he had a garage band, and he actually had the affliction, and he committed suicide because it was too much information of shit coming in that he couldn't handle it anymore as he was getting older. And I was like, what a fucking curse that would be to be able to hear everything like that. So yeah. Yes, word 789. I have seen Invincible, and I will be talking about that tomorrow when I do the Invincible. I'll if you watch my the Falcon and Winter Soldier episode from last night, I was like, holy shit, you got to watch that episode. There we go, Apple Crow. Misophonia. Yes, that's the name of it. That is just one of those. That's just a weird fucking disease. It really is. Yeah. Philip A. Demick says the super donut. Many of you mocked my interest in the pastry sciences. Apple Crow says, oh no, not super hearing. Misophonia is where certain annoying sounds just cut through your mental. Oh, okay. Sorry. Now this is like the guy can actually really like hear. He can hear. What do they say? Because of this disease, he can hear his own heart beating, like without focusing on it. He can just hear it. He can also hear his eyes roll in his head. Like when he moves his eyes, he can hear them in his head, which that just seems like a fucking curse. It really does. I can see why he took his own life, unfortunately, on that, but because there's nothing they could do. They did surgeries on him and everything, and oof, yeah. Jody says, because facts and evidence would blow their minds, would be blown from the. Apple Crow says, I do have very good hearing, but that's not that good. So for me, luckily, I mean, I have okay hearing. My vision is shot to shit, but my sense of smell is like light years above anyone else's. I've been known to actually be able to track people from smell. And this is like maybe an hour or two after they've, like, if at work, if someone came visited my desk when I wasn't there and then left, I knew who came by just from the smell. So yes, that's the kind of weird shit I'm talking about. Stanley, we're not going to be talking about that. That's a spoiler. So I'll talk about that on tomorrow's episode. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yeah. Apple Chris says 1 sec putting on deodorant. So yeah, every person has their own unique smell. They really do. And whether it's got deodorant, aftershave, cologne, hairspray, whatever you name it, it's this weird. You can literally tell the difference. I can tell the difference between people. So, but I've gotten to the point now where I'm old enough where I can block out those things. Yeah. The episodes at 3 p.m. is what you said, Stanley. I'll think about it. Okay. It depends on what I got going on tomorrow. So, yes, Jody, I can actually. So I've been known in the lab setting. Whenever there's some weird random smell, I can track it down to within about a foot area and then find out, what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Mr. Roboto. So yeah, Philip, I am kind of Wolverine, other than the fact that if I do get like really cut open, I can't really heal that quickly, not like that. But I've actually had, and this is gonna be a gross one for you guys. So the nail on one of my big toes got bent upwards halfway and flipped it back down. Went to the doctor, of course. This was at an event that I was working at one point. The emergency tent that was there soaked it in a solution of iodine and water, which, by the way, I don't recommend on an open wound because it hurts like a motherfucker, even though it cleanses it out. Went to the hospital, took a look at it. All they did was they wrapped it in gauze and said, "Hey, lay off of the walking on it." I'm like, "Oh, great, thanks." So I thought pretty much they're like, "Yeah, most likely you're going to lose the nail." I'm like, "Fuck, all right." So I'm going to lose the nail on my big toe. Couple weeks later, the skin had actually grown back to the nail, and there was a little bit of blackness on it, but it grew out and it was fine. Have no problem whatsoever on it. And I'm talking like half the nail flip up. So there's your gross story for the day, too. Yeah. Nailed it. Are my hockeys over now? No, hockey is still going on, Mr. Roboto. As a matter of fact, what is it? The Las Vegas Knights were the first ones to clinch a playoff spot, from what I understand. I haven't been following it very closely. Oh my God. Word 789. You've been taking Apple Crowe comedy lessons? Is that what you're doing? So, yeah, I always remember this from when I took biology in college. So, mitosis and meiosis. What's the difference between it? Mitosis in my ovaries, meiosis in my toes. There you go. And no, I don't have ovaries, but the biologist who was teaching me at the time, she, of course, did. So that's how I remember it. And it actually works. And it's basically how cells divide. So you have gametes and you have cells that are, yeah. Stanley said, I broke my thumb nail half a year ago. Similar story, but it's grown back now. Yeah. Now, mine, Stanley, honestly, it was like 2 months. That was it. And it was so it literally, the skin grew back to the nail within like a couple of weeks. And then after that, it just grew out. What am I selling, Mr. Roboto? I'm not selling anything at the moment. Just myself, obviously. Anyway. Well, I should probably let you guys go for the night or the day or whatever time of day it is where you're at in your locality or general dimension. What else do I have going on this week? Tomorrow is a doubleheader where I'm going to be doing Invincible and then the Nevers. Invincible might be on at 3 p.m. to accommodate some people. I don't know. I'll think about it for a moment. Monday, I'm going to be off. Tuesday is going to be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And this time around, it's going to be the new Mortal Kombat movie that just came out. I'm going to be talking about that. Wednesday and Thursday, I'll be off. Friday will be the season finale of Invincible. That's right. Friday will be the season finale of Invincible. And then, of course, we roll back around to Saturday with Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week and any of the genre stuff you guys want to talk about when we talk about it. That's right. Do you have line dancing this week? No, I don't, Mr. Roboto. I gave up line dancing for Lent. Yeah. But I'm not Christian, so I don't know. Thanks everybody who joined me today in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. And if you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button down below there. And also, if you can't, hit that like button and the share button as well. And if you want to know I'm going to be on live again next, you hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go and take a look at suspendedfanimation.com. That's where I have my links to all my, social media, my pages, and also have all the schedules up there for what I'm going to be doing during the week. Change it out every week there. And exactly as Penn says, don't forget to enter the contest if you live in the continental United States for this guy, for the gold cap. Yes. On the Falcon and Winter Soldier season finale video. Yeah. Yes, Invincible is pretty damn good, I have to admit. 50 streaming services and nothing on? Come on, Philip, you got to be able to find something. There's always something on. I found out that they have an entire channel dedicated to This Old House episodes. And so I'll pop that on every now and then and just watch them fuck up houses, which is funny. Stanley, oh, that's because you live in Europe. Stanley, it's expensive. It's expensive to ship something over to Europe. To ship something like this over to Europe would cost, probably like $40, $50, something like that. That's not even worth the cost of what this is, quite honestly. Honestly, it's not worth all that much. Ooh, I just went out of focus, in and out of focus there. And exactly, Penn, help us with those last 3 subs to hit 1,000. Yeah. Stanley said, I like the British show Dead Pixels, if anyone is a gamer. Huh. Okay. Apple Crow says, that reminds me, what is the ship model above my left shoulder? This guy right here? That's the Rossi right there is what that is, Apple Crow. Morks sent that to me. Yes. Jody says, Dennis, have you ever reviewed For All Mankind? No, I haven't, Jody, because it's on Apple Plus. I can't justify subscribing to Apple Plus because they just really don't have any shows I would watch. And For All Mankind looks okay, but yeah, I just can't do it. Yeah. There's really nothing else on Apple Plus that I would watch. It's the same thing with Paramount Plus, which used to be called CBS All Access. There's nothing on there I want to watch, and I just can't do it. I can't. I can't justify the cost on it, even though it's a small cost. That tells you how bad it is for me if I won't pay out on that. Yeah. Exactly, Stanley. There's nothing good on Apple TV Plus or whatever it's called, Apple Plus. I mean, I have it on the Fire TV app. I can literally just download it, but I don't want to pay for it. Except the game company show. Apple Crowe says I have enough ecosystems, not buying into one with planned obsolescence. Exactly. That's the other thing too. Apple itself, exactly. Apple Crowe, they actually have planned obsolescence into their equipment, which I thought was kind of ridiculous. I can't buy into that either, and I can't support that as well. Whereas I have I'm looking over. I've got an HP system over there that's been running now for 12 years, and it's been 12 years. Yeah, it's been 12 years. Yeah, 12 years, and still running strong. And I've only had to change out the motherboard once on it that burned out like early on, and then after that, everything was good. It was just a bad motherboard, and that was actually fairly cheap. It's like $150. All right, everybody. Thank you. I'm going to let you guys go for the day. Have a good weekend. I will see you again tomorrow for Invincible and the Nevers. So until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may have to sue Disney because they've taken your script and they're not doing anything with it for that character you created back in the 80s that made a lot of money the first time around, but actually got watered down in previous installations. And you want it back so you can actually make something good out of it again. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care. Have a good rest of your weekend. Wear those masks and get those vaccine shots if you can. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.